Hello, everyone. My name is Sujay Hajela, and I'm the Executive Vice President and General Manager at Juniper Networks. AIOps is a key component of any automated IT infrastructure, improving everything from security and analytics to incident response times. Today, we will be talking about the challenges and opportunities available to enterprises through effective AIOps solutions, and very importantly, how it can ensure better user experiences. Joining me today is Prakash Kota, Senior Vice President and Chief Information Officer at Autodesk. Prakash, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Sujay, for having me.
So Prakash, as we get started, I'm sure our audience would like to hear about Autodesk's objectives, and later on in the conversation, I really would want to get into this transformation which you've made from on-prem to everything cloud experience first.
All right. Thanks, Sujay, for having me. For those who don't know, Autodesk, our vision is a better world designed and made for all. So all we do is we enable innovators with our design and make technology so they can imagine the new possible. And so we have been going through a huge transformation as a company by moving to a subscription model. So we used to ship DVDs. Now we give access to our software in the cloud. It's always fun because I've seen that transformation throughout. I've been with the company for a little over 16 years. So I've seen probably fortunate to see all the transformation that we went through. And coming to IT division and the transformation that we have been going through is very similar, I would say, what we have been trying to do with our customers. We've been trying to do internally to our employees too. So one of the biggest core thing was to move to the cloud, leverage cloud to its potential so that it removes the friction to the users and gives them whatever they need on demand. Because it's all about on demand now. That consumer mentality is what is there for any kind of user.
Instant gratification.
Instant gratification, whether it's employees, customers, partners, and that's the whole theme that we took on. And it all starts with experience. Again, going back, if you look at it, when we are a software company shipping DVDs, it's all about putting product at the center. What new features can I deliver? Now, in the whole subscription nature, it's all about understanding about your customer and what is important and what is valuable for them. And trying to see how do we make sure whatever is valuable, if there is a friction associated to it, can we remove that friction? And the new buzzword for that is digitization. So it's all about digitizing and removing that friction. And same is the whole charter that I embarked on internally to our employees too. When employees join Autodesk, I really don't want them to be stressed. Okay, I need to fill up this 100 different forms to get this access. First, let me find out what all tools they use. Then let me find out where all should I fill different forms and then go through the approval process that nobody rejects ever. And then finally get the access. So my vision and goal was, how do we understand our employees and give them what they need on day one? We call it day zero access, birthright access. Of course, we do this all with keeping enterprise security in mind. So that's the core of what we do. So it's not about compromising security. It's more about, let's not use as a security as an example to put so many guardrails in the experience. So it's all experience driven. And that's how our journey with Juniper also started.
I remember the days. Actually, you know what, Prakash, it'll be good to, maybe walk down memory lane. I remember when you and I met and you were going through this transformation, you took an example which really stuck to me. This was about the phone systems. So if you don't mind, would you like to just share that with the audience and then we can get into the journey with Mist and Juniper?
Sure. See, desk phones, to me, was also a legacy. And at Autodesk, unless it's required for nature of the job, like a call center person or something, I personally feel like desk phones are really 1990s. We don't need somebody needing to have a desk phone to do their job. And any change, if I used to have certain thing, whether I use it or not, if I'm being told that I'm going to be taken that away, it's a resistance that comes because it feels like I had it, so it's an entity. And so it's all about how people's mindset and how we need to drive that, whether you use it or not. So at some point, I had to shut down the phone systems just to see how many people even complain that the phones, take this entire floor and switch off the desk phones, to see what really happens. How many people even really raise a ticket or a system? And not surprisingly, my team warned me not to do that kind of stuff. But I did it. I told them to turn it off, and nobody complained. And that was really a testament of how modern the workforce were. The tools that they were using, everything enabled, whether it's chat, whether using EV phones or cell phones. And it was more a testament that we don't need to take a step-by-step approach. We can make bold decisions and move faster. And that was one aspect of it. And coming to our story, and then see, now we turned off. Right. Now we don't have any as such desk phones. Right. I mean, now, I don't know, we have to also start thinking post-COVID, do we even have desks?
Yes.
So, assigned desks. Because I do think we have workspaces, collaboration hubs, lounges that we are creating for people to come and collaborate. But gone are those days where you come and sit here 9 to 5 and focus and do your work all by yourself. I don't think we have all mastered that in the last 2 years, sitting at our homes or wherever it is. I think when we come into an office space, we really want to collaborate with others. Yeah. We really want to get that bonding happening.
And I remember, Prakash, when we met, and the phone example just made me an instant fan. And actually, that is where we embarked on this discussion about experience. I clearly remember we spoke about it. And, I was really excited when you said, look, Sujay, I don't have a problem because we were a startup at that point in time. We were not even, Juniper at that point in time. And you were taking a big decision. This was a global deployment, and you were on this digital transformation to drive experiences. And I remember we both resonated when we said, well, the reason Mist was developed was to enrich end user experience. Of course, we went through pilots, and your team was just amazing. I have to say, very supportive. And long story short, a global deployment, then we got acquired by Juniper as Mist, and that became the AI-driven enterprise. And you'd be excited to know Juniper's starting line is experience first networking now.
Nice.
So, from there to a really successful partnership where, by the way, I also agree that your team was very supportive, right? Change cannot happen by you and I deciding let's change. It was a team which was supportive. But if I look fast forward that experience to COVID, right? Everything is wrong about this, what's happened. You know that. Everything is wrong. But it actually changed certain things because this whole 9 to 5 concept went away.
Yeah.
This desk went away. So I'm sure our audience would like to understand what this has meant for Autodesk and what this has meant for your digital transformation journey.
One is the whole workplace and so-called hybrid workplace, where you'll need to figure out, and it could vary from role to role, geo to geo, teams, and whatever works for individual teams. That's the philosophy we have. We are not dictating, you need to come 2 days a week or 3 days a week, and then 2 days you stay here, or we are fully remote. We are not taking our stance in either of those places, but we have great offices, by the way. We've invested, if you guys have not seen Autodesk offices, we have great offices. And I'm a person, as a preference, I want to go back to office place at least 2 to 3 days a week. And I also know that I will be effective asynchronously doing things on my own when I'm remote, focused work. So my preference is always best of both worlds. It doesn't need to be, should I be fully remote or should I go back to full-time office? But the key thing is, when I am taking the best of both worlds, the experience has to be seamless. What I experience at home, I should not feel like, okay, I need to find out this formula if I need to work in a campus. Because we go to a coffee shop, we log in and we start working. And when I come into a corporate office, it should not feel like, okay, I need to do these 4 gymnastics before I get connected, and then I start working, or I need to figure out a huge formula. And that's a lot of stress, especially if you don't come on a daily basis. And so we need to, again, it's all about the experience and the smartness built around it. If I'm a user, I'm going into campus, we should be able to recognize that whether I have an access to that system, to that building. And that should also control, if I have access, which floor, which building, because that will keep us secure. And the Wi-Fi should be provisioned accordingly. And if I have not followed any protocols, the Wi-Fi should be turned off or informed to our manager kind of stuff. And then if I have to go to a conference room and beyond, I expect leveraging your Wi-Fi beacons and other things to navigate me to that place, because I don't come to this workplace every single day. So the discussions I think we had pre-COVID days, leveraging how, like we talked very little about Wi-Fi. I remember in our conversation, we talked about all the other features associated from an experience standpoint, which I feel are very relevant now when I don't need to go into an office space every single day. And so, and I also, I'm not going to be stressed knowing that I'll be able to connect quickly, securely, and collaborate with whomever I need to collaborate.
Absolutely.
And that's the key, I would say.
And I think, Prakash, I also remember, you're right, the discussions we had pre-COVID, we didn't know this was going to happen, but actually it has served us, served Autodesk and Juniper really well during this time. But I also remember when we were talking about this, right, you said, Sujay, I don't want people to be complaining. Like the coffee shop example, they open it, instant on, instant gratification. I'm sure the audience would also like to hear what has this transformation meant to you in terms of, the IT teams, right? You cannot have a plethora of IT teams running around chasing ghosts, as we call it, for Wi-Fi problems. So what has your experience been in terms of network operations with the system?
Yeah, see, with network operations, again, I'm a big believer. I'm a software person.
Yes, I remember.
I'm not a core hardware person, and a believer that leveraging software for everything is the way to go. Because you can scale faster. That's the principle. It's nothing against hardware. And so when we roll up new offices or campuses, or when we acquire new companies, when we have to roll up things, I feel like everything should be in the cloud. Like your controller is cloud controller. I don't need to have an on-premise, because I don't have on-premise stuff. I don't have data centers to put those on-premise stuff and to have site-based network operations. It's cloud-based, and that network operations person can operate it from anywhere. And then visibility. If there are issues, and we all know, the reality is we don't want to have issues, but when we have issues, we do want to know, rather than, and if possible, before the user gets to know that there's something going on, so that we can be either fast reactive or proactive. And I should be able to quickly search what's going on, what kind of issues, or who is having bad experiences from a Wi-Fi standpoint. And previously it used to be like that person, one person who had the knowledge of going back behind those complex network systems to see what's going on. And so we are all waiting for that godly human being to tell us what was wrong. And for me, that is not what it is. Because people, again, in a software company, people want to self-serve. I don't want somebody to tell me what's going on. I don't have a network engineer at home to fix my Wi-Fi issues. And so that's, again, my philosophy and thinking is, when I don't struggle and I'm keeping my home secure and at the same time connected, why does it need to, why is it different at a campus? Why do we make it over complex? Yes, I know the campus has its own restrictions and what we need to do, but now there are solutions that can really take it to this level. And that's the whole philosophy of how I operate.
So Prakash, just as to summarize, today we spoke about how we met and we aligned on experiences, and the phone example made me an instant fan. After that, we had the discussion as to what was important to you, right? It was about enriching the experience and at the same time keeping network operations, systems and costs under control. I think that was really good. And I know what I really also liked was you said, well, Autodesk is looking at changing the experience for its customers, the way you deliver the service now. And what is exciting and a key insight is that you said, and hence you need to do the same thought process to your own employees. Yeah. And I think the Juniper Autodesk partnership has been really successful. So Prakash, what's next on because I know you continue to think and challenge technology actually to deliver an experience. So what's next at Autodesk?
Yeah, no, I think the big focus, specifically from an employee standpoint, is also about personalization. So the next level of experience is nothing but when you come into a company, as I told you, we have hundreds of tools that we use. And for my profile, I probably use 5 to 10 different tools, which means I don't need to know the other 90 tools, which other folks will use. So how do you understand me better and serve me, like personalize, give the personalized experience to me? We have focused first on improving experience overall, and now it's all about personalizing the experience for me and then recommending things for me so that my day is effective and productive. And so there's a huge focus on personalization, and we are doing it for our internal employees, and the same thing we are focusing on for our customers too. How do we understand our customers better and serve them better and add more value? It's all about value. And so that's the next big thing. So a lot of focus on data.
Love it. So fundamentally, experience was the vision, started with digitization, and now you're saying personalize the digitization, take it to a hyperscale. Prakash, thank you for your time today. It's always exciting and exhilarating when we speak to you. The underlay was AIOps, but again, as I expect of you, you speak about outcomes, and it was today about experiences. So thank you again for sharing your journey at Autodesk as the Chief Information Officer and Senior Vice President.
Thank you, Sujay, for having me.